Welcome everybody to Real Raw Health with your host, Nikki Burnett of Taste Life Nutrition and Matt Moe, myself of Parsley Pet. During our show, we are talking about your pet's health, raw feeding, and the health our pets bring to us with love. And a little human health as well gets dribbled into this, and a little bit of nutrition because we can't keep from talking about that stuff. So welcome to this week's show.
Thank you. Thank you. You know, I'm glad to be here, but I'm a little bit not glad to be here because I was supposed to be in the mountains camping by now. But it has proven a little bit difficult to get up. There are a lot of fire bans anyway. It's crazy. So we are staying here for the weekend. And so I wanted to go ahead and jump on as well, but we're going to be working on our fence all weekend that is intended to keep the dogs in so they can't get out.
So,
something that
you're working on your fence to keep your dogs contained as much as you can, so you don't have to play that the dogs just got out again game.
Yeah. And they don't, beat themselves up with fences and that kind of thing.
Yes.
And I'm outside. You can hear the dog. So sorry.
So that is something that I should stay at home this weekend for Memorial Day and heed to what you are doing, because definitely it needs to be done, because at some point Leo, the disruption. So this week's show, what we want to talk about is the disruptions, the anxiety, the changes, everything that's going on with having you at home so much now.
Yeah.
Because now it's been we're going on like third year. I'm sorry, third month.
I was like, 3. Yeah, it seems like it. Yes.
Yeah. Completely wrong. So we're going on the third month of all this fun. And because of it all, we're really just trying to deal with this disruptions and all this stuff. But what comes is your dog is not used to you being at home, even though they are a pack animal. They love you. They want you there. I've noticed some behavioral changes with our dog, Leo, and you've probably most likely heard me talk about it way too much on this show.
Well, when you have big accidents like Leo had a couple of weeks ago, I mean, it kind of tends to take over.
It consumes your thoughts.
Yeah. It's interesting because one of the funniest things, this whole thing has been interesting, to say the least. I won't go any further than that, but there are things that have come out of it that are funny, like all of the memes and the GIFs going around, with the dogs going, okay, we have walked already 7 times today. Why are we walking in? Or whatever it is, the dog's going, why are you still here?
Yes.
It's really funny. And this is, for me personally, it's not my experience because my husband and I both work from home. And so they're used to it. And, them are around. And but we spend most of our times in our office and we get them out, at the end of the day, and not usually during the middle of the day, which we should. Right. But working anyway, we've not noticed that, but I know lots and lots of people have, because it's abnormal for their humans to be home all the time.
Yeah.
So what are you seeing?
Well, Mr. Chacha's one of them. I'll just talk about Mr. Chacha right now. He is very smart. So he realizes that if he barks, and my wife and I are both on conference calls, the only way to get him to stop barking is to begin feeding him dinner. So we'll take a portion of his dinner out. So we're still feeding him the same amount. So we'll pull a portion of his dinner out and we really just kind of pretend we're feeding him, and then it'll quiet him down for an hour. And then he comes right back upstairs. So it's this habitual, he's starting to realize real quick, oh, if I'm loud and I bark, you guys can't have that because you're on phone calls or Zoom calls all day. So I'm going to do this if I get an inkling that I'm hungry. Like it could be a whiff coming from the air that I'm hungry. And he's like, I'm in, I need to eat. And that's what he does. Leo, on the other side, is starting to show more anxiety. He's starting to show that he's bored. He wants to do something. And I don't know if this is because of the increased walks, his hurt leg, but really he's become his own management challenge. So trying to get now my kids to deal with him. And the way we're doing that is by walking. Take the dog for a walk.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times, Nikki, I have said the words, take the dog for a walk. And to two teenagers, they kind of look at you and they're like, yeah, I'll do it in a minute. No, guys.
No.
Like, this is what I'm going to need you to do. So what we've done for Leo too is create games.
Yeah.
For him. And next week's show, we're going to talk about games that you can do for your dogs. And I'm going to prep 3 different games, and we're going to get Leo to actually perform these games. So one game that the new one I devised for him, it now takes him about 10 minutes to get through.
That's amazing.
And that's all I want is I want him, and with everybody watching the show, when you're watching next week, and I highly recommend you watch it, you will think I'm being cruel to him. I really just cover up treats in a towel, and you'll see how I do it. And it becomes this full-size towel becomes about this size. And then that gets stuffed into a reusable grocery sack. And then that gets tied with 2 knots.
That's amazing.
And he's realized that if he takes the knot and starts pulling on it, he can get the knots apart, because as soon as he gets the towel out, then that's another. But he's so active in doing this, nothing distracts him.
Yeah.
One thing I've noticed too is that he gets tired after we do that game, because we're activating his brain.
Yeah. That's awesome. I can't wait to see that. I know we've been talking about this now for 2 or 3 weeks, and it's not worked out. This is we're coming into a holiday, and all of the things, and you're up in your amazing little mountain cabin. So that's awesome. But yeah, so next week for real, we're going to do it, because I want to see it. And I, with my 3 girls, I would love to have, and I just haven't looked into it enough. I really need to do that. But something just to throw out to them during the day while I'm working, or right now, today was a perfect day. I'm doing just work stuff, and I'm sitting outside, and it's beautiful. And I would love to sit outside and work on the computer and watch the dogs run around their little treat balls.
Yeah, try to figure something out. And really, the game comes out of complete desperation, because I need to keep the dogs quiet in the house. And so I'm like, we got to figure something out. So I'll get my kids engaged, and it keeps them a little bit active too, I think, as well. Even though I think I'm kidding myself trying to keep 2 teenagers active. Last night I woke up at like 1 in-the-morning, came downstairs, and both of my kids are wide awake. They're like, hey, isn't it like 2 o'clock? And I was like, no, guys, it's 1. So really, like, you're looking at all of these disruption changes too. And something that I realized is that not only are you doing that, but if you have kids in your house, they're staying up later. Your dog is not sleeping during the day anymore, possibly.
Yeah.
And
yeah, really true. The dogs sleep when you sleep. And if you have kids and then you're home all day, when are they? I mean, they're sleeping some and they're resting, but it's not like what it typically is.
Right. And so I think that's something that everybody watching is to stay cognizant of, is you're awake, but your dog is used to sleeping while you're gone. It's not like it flips open the book or turns on the TV and says, oh, I want to catch the last season of Ozark or whatever it is. Like, if your dog is feeling like, I want you to get home, but it's sleeping during that time. So I think Leo, at some point, his anxiety is coming from sleep deprivation.
So interesting.
Kids are up late, and then we're up all day. And so he's only sleeping now maybe 7-8 hours a day, where before he was probably sleeping 14 because of everything going on. So it throws that difference off. Yeah, he got hurt. Yeah, he goes through this kind of things. But I think there's some things that we can do at home to help our dogs deal with this disruption, the change. I mean, it's disruptive for us. It's as much disruptive for them as well.
Right. Yeah. So are there other things that you do besides the games?
The games we do, lots of walks. So definitely, I think that is as much good for us as it is for them.
Yeah.
If your dog likes car rides, taking him for a car ride, or finding those moments where they find peace in their day.
Yeah.
For Leo, I got him a 50-foot long leash. And so when we go out, I let him sniff. I let him go smell. I let him go do everything he really wants to go do in those periods. And that kind of alleviates it for him. I notice he's a little bit calmer when he gets into the house. And one thing that I look for too is he sleeps. He curls up on the couch and he goes to sleep.
Yeah.
If I can mimic that as much as possible. But yes, I am building his endurance as well.
Cool. Good. Yeah, I like that. We have pretty long leashes, but I think I'd like to get longer leashes.
Going over to REI, and they sell the climbing webbing, and it's a flat piece of cloth they use for climbing for webbing, so it can handle any amount of weight, and I can get it at any length I want.
Interesting.
So then if I tie a knot on the end, I can put a carabiner on it. And then on the other end, I can tie a loop knot so my hand can go through it and hold it. And then I can constantly just roll it up as he's walking. I can roll it up into that pattern and bring it up in. So it's not just this gigantic leash lying around. And then I can allow him. And then if we come upon a dog with Leo, he can become aggressive with golden retrievers and Labradors. Someday God will explain that to me, why he does that. But other dogs, he doesn't care. But if I notice he's going to be aggressive or not be the dog I want him to be, I can wind it up really quick and I can stop him and hold him like a short leash.
Interesting. And so I assume it's super lightweight.
Super lightweight.
I have not heard of this. I'm going to do that.
Yeah. So out of necessity, you kind of come up with some harebrained ideas, and some work and some don't. So that is as much as I can get them out, really trying to think outside the box, but also at the time too, is thinking like a dog, thinking like a pack animal and not thinking like a human.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that's smart. And a lot of times that's what we do is we humanize dogs as much as we want them to be like us. They're just not. And so, yeah, I think we have to, put ourselves in their shoes, for lack of a better word.
Yep.
Yeah. And car rides are fun. We do a lot of car rides.
Do you guys do your puppies like car rides?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
So you're finding all those little moments. Is there anything else that you've found that helps?
Going to the mountains. That's one of the things that I look forward to the most when we go camping or spend an extended period of time in the mountains, is going to a place that is as secluded as we can possibly find and letting them run. And so they'll run and run and run. And that's the best thing, because talk about wearing them out. I mean, it's amazing. So we go pretty remote. My husband's a fly fisherman, so we like to go back pretty far when we can. And yeah, we just let them loose. It's amazing.
Awesome.
So this weekend, we try to do that as often as we can during the summer. It's not daily, obviously, but as often as possible.
And this is kind of the surprise show today. We were actually not going to have a show today because you were headed to the mountains.
Yeah. Yep. It was gonna be a full 4 days of camping and fishing and hiking and letting the dogs run and play. And so it's disappointing, but we know we'll do it. We always do. We always get out pretty regularly, and we cook amazing food.
There's something about camp cooked meals, and indirectly, I have a feeling your puppies get a little bit of that too.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
You broke their hearts too, because if they knew that you were starting to set that pattern to go camping, they knew it. I mean, your dogs are smart. I mean, they know when you're tired, they know when you're frustrated, they know when they want something, and they know how to get it.
Yeah.
One of the big things too that we did is saying no. It's not just physically saying no, but distracting them enough to stop the pattern.
Yeah, that's true. I'll say that when we started pulling out our camping stuff, this is a couple of days ago, because we need to kind of clean and go through stuff. It's been a year, right? But they knew it. They were like, okay, we're ready. This is like, we're early.
We're so excited.
I know.
Oh man.
So,
Well-
but that's true. Just disrupting the pattern when they're doing something that they shouldn't be doing, you know, if it's the anxiety or if it's the barking or whatever it is. Yeah, I think that's important too.
Yeah. I mean, anything to break that habit. I mean, that's with Mr. Chacha. We play the pretend game a lot with him. So he thinks he got it solved. And then that basically satisfies him for the short term.
Oh, I love it.
And that's it. Is really, it's just breaking all these patterns as
Yeah.
you go into it. So,
Mhm. Yeah.
well, it's going to be a little bit of a short show because
Yeah.
I expected you not to come back till Monday.
I know. Or Tuesday. We were thinking about staying till Tuesday.
Good for you.
I know. Well, now we're working on the fence, but that's good too. I'm stoked.
Yeah. No, yeah, needs to be done.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. So if anybody wants to find you at Taste Life Nutrition and everything, all this incredible work that you're doing down from health and the foods that we eat, everything we can do to maintain how good we can feel, how can they find you?
So yeah, tastelifenutrition.com is the website. You know, there's the Facebook and the Instagram and all of the things. So I'm all over there. I do a radio show, so you can find that the next week. So it's every other week, Thursdays at 10 a.m. Mountain Time. What else? I don't know. These Facebook Lives, I do a couple of these. You and I are every week, so that's awesome. So yeah, that's it. And we partnered up because Matt's company is, if you know me at all, I'm a super geek when it comes to labs and understanding the body's biochemistry. And Matt gives us the ability to look at our dog's biochemistry, and it's the coolest thing in the world. So Parsley Pet, I don't mean to, you know, talk about your stuff, but I love talking about your stuff because it's amazing.
No, I like the way that you do it much better than I do it.
But if you want to geek out, if you want to truly understand what your dog needs as far as food's concerned, what maybe your dog's getting into, what are you giving your dog that maybe you shouldn't be because it's creating a toxic load, a toxic burden, you know, this is an amazing test where we can look at that and really individualize. That's the amazing thing about science right now. Science and genetics and testing this is true individualized care. And we're just moving, you know, faster and faster and faster in that direction as we learn more about genetics and epigenetics and what the individual needs. We can't lump people or dogs or any other animal in a box because they're all unique. We're all unique. And so we have to work with them as individuals. They have their own environment and their own stresses, and, you know, they don't have a choice in what they eat unless it jumps in the yard. So, you know, it's our job to feed them well and feed them what they actually need. And kibble is not what they need. Big companies are going to tell you all day long the kibble that they know best and that kibble is the best thing and it's nutrient dense and it is nothing but toxic. There's literally not one little thing that I can come up with that's good about kibble or hard food.
Very, very well said. So thank you very much. And you can always, I mean, follow us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram. We're always putting new information out there. And thank you very much, Nikki, for doing this show with me. I so appreciate the moment. That's when you could send me the text 20 minutes before the show or 30 minutes before the show. And you're like, I'm going to be here. Like, absolutely. I want to do a show with Nikki.
Awesome. Awesome. That's perfect. Well, good. I'm glad that it all worked out. And we'll be back with fun stuff for next week. I'm super excited for next week.
Yes. Yeah. So stick around for next week. Come watch us. We're gonna give examples of a few different games you can play with your dogs.
Some stuff. All right. Cool. Thanks, Matt. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Have a great weekend.
You too.